Good morning, good morning. We are here, it's a brand new week, more or less a brand new month. We wrapped up our June CBDC last week. Lots of amazing entries. I'm very happy with the turnout on that. I'm looking forward to what you guys can do this month. And on that note, today is dedicated to the July CBDC kickoff. Basically, we're going to go over what this month's theme is, how it's going to work, and hopefully get you guys excited about participating. I will be making a post about this probably right after we end the stream this morning, but those of you that are with me today will get a kind of a preview and a chance to maybe add some suggestions for anything that I might want to include in the post itself. I don't actually have a separate thread or anything for just the CBDC stuff in the official forums. I just tack it on to my Twitch stream thread. It's kind of a way of me bumping it without just saying bump. So hopefully folks will pay attention to it. If not, you know, maybe you guys can help spread the word. I hate like spamming the forums with different things. If I already have it in one place, I feel like I shouldn't have to repeat it multiple times and cross-reference and everything. So, yeah, this month, those of you that have been kind of following along already are aware of what to expect. But I'm hoping to kind of refine a few details just to clarify exactly how it's going to work. Good morning, Faye, and I think Maddie's with us too, listening in, and anyone else that's happened to pop in. Which reminds me, I need to tweet real quick. I get that sorted before I forget. Just add in the word housing because it seems kind of weird. Oh, there we go. I always write my tweets ahead of time, and then I look at them and go, did I spell everything right? And it never fails. It doesn't matter if I check and recheck. I often misspell something. So, but yeah. So July CBDC. Again, for those of you that have been kind of following along, you'll know that I was tinkering around with an idea just for my own entertainment, mostly, of creating like a custom mini house. A modular house, something small, doesn't take up too many items, relatively cheap, that in the instance somebody say, can you build me something, a little house for my plot, then I could just go poop, there it is, and then they are welcome to decorate it however they want. Because while we do have the prefab homes, for some folks those styles, those themes don't really work, or maybe they want something a little more modern. This particular style that I set up, it's just one of, you know, a multitude of ways you could go with it. And this may be something we revisit later. Maybe I'll come up with a different design, or someone volunteers to create one, and then we just use that as the CBDC modular thing, you know, for a later time. But this is the one that we come up, or that I come up with this time. And we originally was calling it the pill house, but I didn't want people thinking, you know, we were like dealing drugs or something. So I've called them modular houses. Basically, they're compact homes. Think of them as like a caravan or a like a studio apartment kind of setup. In theory, if our actual decor limits were limitless, you could like build a whole city of these and just have, you know, them stacked up on top of each other and have these little mini apartments for your visitors or whatever. Well, that was nice of him, Maddie. I imagine some folks will be off today because I believe today is the July 4th, which is a holiday for those in the States. While I am originally from there, we don't actually celebrate it. I think the firework popping goes on around the 21st of this month for here, but again, we still don't engage in it. We hear people popping the crackers and stuff, but we don't really do it ourselves. So if you are celebrating that sometime today, just be safe with that. Okay, so what is the CBDC? For those that are not in the know, CBDC stands for Custom Built Decor Challenge. It's basically a monthly challenge that I issue towards the first of the month, and we give a theme, and then you have the whole month to kind of work on building something that will suit that theme. And then at the end of the month, we do a special live stream showcase of everybody's creations. Now this one is going to be a little bit different. What it is I will be supplying you either with the KBT code, the CATIA Builder Toolkit code, that you can actually, I will either send it via a Twitter DM or a forum PM or something like that. It will be the item code, the decor set code for it, and you can just import that into your KBT and install the house yourself. Or if you choose, and trust me, you can neighbor me and roommate me, and I will come and install it for you. Morning, Faye, Poi, anybody else that's popping in there. Glad you guys could join us. So I've written up a kind of a bit to kind of help announce this. Let me just close this one up. Basically, it's the usual little flyer thing that I'll be tweeting out later as well. But in addition to that, I've included a kind of a little mini FAQ because as we've been kind of looking into this and discussing it on the stream, there's been a few people that have asked questions, certain things about it that I figured others would probably be wondering the same thing. So I just decided to write up a quick FAQ. And for those of you that are here, you can help me kind of refine it. If I'm missing something, if there's something else you think that needs to be answered, I would be very appreciative if you could let me know so that we can improve it before I post it after the show. All right, that's fine, Poi, that's fine. So the FAQ, basically I've broke it down into, I don't know, a handful of questions. First, what is a modular home? And I said, in this case, it's a compact custom house that has been built as a prefab shell structure. It is comprised of around 240 pieces, or 245 pieces, which is wooden 2x4s, curved walls, floors, and unframed glass, that are purchased directly from the housing vendor at a cost of approximately 50 gold. So that's something to keep in mind. You need at least a space of like 245 and 50 gold, because I did check it out on an alt of mine to see just how much it would cost, and they all roughly were 50 gold. It was like, I think it was like 47 or something. I am going to say here, if you're having trouble, and I probably mentioned it in the facts somewhere, but if you're having trouble funding it, just let me know and I'll help with that. I'll assist. For those of you that asked me to install it direct, it'll just come out of my pocket, no big deal. You know, because this is kind of an unusual thing, and I'm kind of like sticking you with kind of a goofy little house. And if it encourages more people to participate, if I foot the bill for it, then, you know, the more the merrier. But yeah, so it's not super cheap, you know, for like a beginner player especially. But I think in the overall term, it's pretty affordable considering what it is. Okay, so I then said, but it doesn't require any special reputation or decor access, which is, you know, a big thing of mine. I try to make it so that when I build certain things, if I have other people wanting to do the similar, I don't want to say, oh, well, you have to have, you know, this shade deep item that isn't available anymore. You know, that kind of is disappointing. It makes it harder for people to, like some of my paintings, some of those have had a few items that are really difficult to obtain, and I feel bad because I'm trying to give the person a copy of it and then they can't get a hold of everything. So it just kind of slows things down rather than just having it all directly from the housing vendor and then they can just, insert it and it's there. So the next one is, are there different styles of the modular home to choose from? And I answer, while the general shape and layout are the same, there are 4 different looks of the modular home that you can choose from. So we have the Orin version, and basically all it is changing out the walls and the floors. The fronts all look the same. And while it's mostly changes this outer part and the inner floors and such, you'll notice that it does also change the look of the trim around the front. Some have it a little odder looking and others are not so different. So it's, maybe you want an Orin home so that you can have the exile furniture bits, and then maybe you want the opposite. You want the exile house with the Orin bits. Just depends on how you're going to mix and match it. So there's the Orin. Then we have the Exile version, which again, it's exactly the same, just different coloring. Here's the Cassian one, and then of course I decorated up the Draken version. That was the original one, and the others have just been kind of replicated off of that. Next question was, how do I obtain a modular home? And I say, if you would like to participate in July's CBDC, you will need to acquire a base modular home. To do this, you need to contact moi directly in one of the following manners. And I list the Twitter approach, Twitch, forum, or you can contact me in-game via any of my characters. It's Carrot Greenleaf on Exile side and Melon Collie on Dominion side, and that's true for whichever region you're coming from, because I have the same name on both regions. Then I say, whichever option you choose, simply specify which model that you want and how you'd like to obtain it, whether it be the KBT code or if you want me to come in onto your plot and directly install it for you. Whichever you, yeah. Then the next question is, can I modify the modular home in any way? This one's a little bit more in depth. I say that, it's really not that much, but basically I say, generally speaking, this is a decorating challenge in that you're charged with adding the usual items one would expect to find in a home. For example, bed, tables, cabinets, appliances, etc. To further clarify, every piece of the base modular home should remain intact. That means you're not removing any of these pieces that comes with the base house. You don't remove anything. You can add to it, cover it up how you want, but leave everything there. Like, for instance, if you wanted to change the flooring here, if you remove this piece and replace it with a different piece, that changes the trim on the outside, because the trim is visible. So you'd have to basically shrink a different kind of floor and layer it on top if you want it to look like it's tiles or carpet, or same goes for any of the walls or the ceiling and that kind of thing. You can see that I've tacked on a porch area on mine. You can do the same, just don't remove any of these pieces, because if you do, that affects the interior as well. So just leave it as it is and just add to it. So yeah, I give examples like adding permitted to add things such as a door for the entryway, interior floor, wall, ceiling coverings to represent carpets, tiles, a porch terrace to enhance the entryway, and walls to divide up the interior space. Because as I showed in the beginning, these are completely bare. They're just one big room, and you can divvy it up however you want. Such as the way that I did this one. I've added little wall separations. You can arrange it however you want. I wanted to give as much freedom as possible in that regard. Um, then the next question, which is kind of related, is can I change the scale of the modular home? And I say, in short, yes. The original base modular home was built to the scale of an Oran character, this one here. So for the taller races, things may feel a bit too confined. In theory, you should be able to still get in the door and walk around just like my character, but it might feel a little tighter because your character's taller visually. And I say you're permitted to adjust it, adjust the scale of the structure to better match your character's race within reason. The modular home is meant to be compact, like a caravan or studio apartment. This means don't oversize it. In other words, I don't want to give somebody the modular home, they enlarge it to the length of the plot and have like multiple levels inside their modular home. It's not meant to be a big house. It's meant to be a small living space. So think of it as a one-person little house, and then, you know, build accordingly. So your scales, I think all of these are set to 0.7, I believe, 0.75. So the most I would say to stretch it would be maybe up to 1.2, 1.5, somewhere around there. Not much bigger than that, because I think that's going a little bit beyond the extreme. Can I see an example of an already decorated modular home? So I say yes, you can either come to this plot, which is parsnip greenleaf, if you happen to have access to Jabbit Exile side. It is open to the public. It has been since I think Friday. Or you can watch the videos and I link those and stuff like that. I say, in addition to that, we'll be decorating another modular home this month. I'm going to be doing another one so I can be building right alongside the rest of you. So you're welcome to join us for those as well if you want some additional ideas. We're going to try a different approach, or attempt to anyway. Then general rule of thumb, if you're uncertain about anything discussed in the FAQ, or you have further questions, to simply ask. So what do you guys think? Does that about cover everything, or is there something else you think should be added? Because I want to kind of get this as helpful and clear about how to work this, so that others that want to participate that aren't necessarily watching our show regularly have a good grasp of how to go about it. And you've got some new entries to the past CBD. Well, you'll have to show us, Bones. Yeah, it's kind of like a IKEA thing. It's like a prefab home, but it's, you know, my own version. Um, but now, while in the FAQ, I do say, you know, treat it as a home. If you want to make it more like an office, that I would say that would be up to you. I just figure most people will go for a little bit of a home style, you know, figuring out how they want to do the cabinets. The main issues you're probably going to have is working with the curved walls, the curved sections. Those are a little trickier because of just the curve in it. But I will be showing you a way to get around that today, I think. Okay, well, good, good. Because I've got it all prepared. I even have a little screenshot of each little type so people can quickly see the different versions, how they look. I did kind of modify it a little bit. If you can see, I moved my artificial sun way over here because these appeared lighter on the front than these did because it looked really dark, so I had to move the light to make sure it was suited better. Now, I won't have as much leeway as far as, oh, that is something I need to add. I need to add the cap level. I think we worked it out to about 1700. Was that it? Was that the number we had? Let me write that down. Item cap. It's something I won't be able to actually confirm, but it might give you guys a specific little special goal to keep it under 1700. which includes the 245 or so that the house itself is. So you get roughly, well, I don't want to do the math because my brain is not working, but I love that kiosk, Bones. When I saw the first screenshot, I was like, that's just, it perfectly fits that plot. Okay, so I guess we'll just hop right into it. I'm going to pick one of these. Let me just have a look in here. Let's go with the Exile one. We'll go with like the all wood. Now, I won't be able to get the top 1700 limit on this because if you look, I'm at almost 2000 decor placed on the exterior, so I have roughly about 500 to go. But I think what I'm going to do is a different approach to how one might suit this up. In the original one that I decorated, we went full on customized. You can do that, and it's, you know, item intensive. So if you're willing, you know, if you've got enough space on a alts plot or something to fiddle around with it, I welcome it, encourage it, because, you know, that's awesome stuff. But for those that maybe are a little bit more limited in space, they're tacking this onto their mains plot, like in a corner or something, and they don't have the space to allow. I'm going to see if I can kind of lessen that amount. So I'm restricting myself to just the 500 that I have left, basically. So we'll see how that works. What I'm going to do, though, like I said, probably the toughest part for some will be the curved ends. You can see that when I worked on the kitchen area in the original, I basically used some additional curved walls and flat walls to try and kind of fill that in. And of course, certain pieces were sunk into the wall just to kind of make it look like it's built in. But like you can see how these aren't even attached really, except at the very tip top corner. They're like actually, there's a gap there. Even here, there's a bit of a gap. So one way to kind of get past that, and this works too for even the in-game prefab homes, like the Exile Cozy Home or the Orin homes, either the cozy or the spacious, any of them that have the curved interiors. One way to get around that is to just box it in. Yes, you do lose a little bit of space. Say we're going to box this in, and we're just going to box it at this line here. You lose this little bit of a gap, but in this situation, it gives you an extra cushion of space, so that if you're putting something inside the wall, you have a less likely chance that it will be poking out through the wall. Because that is going to be another challenge for these particular bits, especially along these walls here. They're relatively thin, so you're not going to have a lot of luxury of tucking stuff in and hiding parts without it poking through the other side. So that's going to be an additional challenge. The ceiling and the flooring is basically, you're covered there, but the ceiling and the sides, they have a little bit of thickness that gives you a little bit of a leeway, but not a whole lot. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to start, last time I started with the kitchen, I think, and this time we're going to start with the living room, I think. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab, since I have a lot of these anyway, makes sense to go ahead and use them. I'm just going to set up and what I'd like to do is do some kind of like an inset cabinet arrangement here. Notice I'm building square again. If, for instance, you want to have your little house kind of maybe directly facing the entrance, like you're going to put it right here, my suggestion would be build it square like this, you know, at a nice, even, simple angle. Once you have it all finished, link it all together and then move it. That's what I did with this. This one actually was somewhere over here, I think. Actually, it was on a different plot altogether. And then I just linked everything together later, and then you can turn it, rotate it however you want. Much easier than building at an odd angle, because then you have trouble with things maybe not lining up exactly like you want. Hey Kruja, glad you could join us. Nice to see faces we've seen in the past. Start calling you one of our regulars. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and set up a kind of a like an entertainment cabinet. It's going to have the TV, maybe fireplace even, and some shelving and things like that. So, whoops, we're going to try and figure out a nice size for the boards first, and then how we're going to inset it. Let me just plop this down right here. Let's see. We're going to want the fireplace kind of in the middle, so let's trying to see if I can get something that'll go across like 3 boards wide. That seems about right to me. Remember, you can't have it poking out too far, so keep that in mind. Be very watchful. A good tip is, as you add things, just go outside the building and have a look and see if it's showing. Now, if you start seeing things like this, that's just, I don't know what that is. Either me just being sloppy or something. Tuck it in a little bit. So you can kind of, yeah, it looks all right. Not poking out any. Now, when I'm talking about how many pieces are in these little modular homes, I have to say around 245, because I don't know how I did it. What I did was I took a copy of this set, and then I made a duplicate, and then I replaced every individual item that needed replacing. So I would substitute a Cassian floor, a drinking floor for a Cassian floor, and I did that every single time. Somehow, I think one of these sets has like 242 pieces, another one has like 241. So there's a few extra pieces here and there. Either they're missing some pieces or they got extras. I think it's extras. And it's, I don't know what I did, but so it's not like it really changes the look of it. They all look the same, but for whatever reason, I kind of messed up the change out. I don't know what I did, but hopefully that doesn't pose too big of a problem for anyone that decides to participate in this. So I just had to say around 245. And again, the price is pretty much, I consider it affordable, but for those of you that haven't been playing as long as I have, maybe you will need help, and I'm happy to do that for you guys. Okay, this doesn't look quite even, so I'm going to see if I can adjust this a bit. And make sure it's not sticking out. Looks okay. Okay, so while I know that there's going to be a certain space missing here, I'm going to go ahead and use it as a kind of a guide to know where the other parts are. So what's a good height for a fireplace in here? I think this will work good. And then we want some shelving here probably, and then maybe a space for the TV, because I'm going to like put the couch probably right about here. It's all about the entertainment center here. So for the fireplace itself, we're probably going to use some Draken Floors, well, I got like plenty of extras of those. I think it was because I was testing to make sure all my sets were working. And I did a copy of that one just to double check. Size that down a bit. That looks good. Now, if you're really studious about how you plan your plot or your decoration or whatever, be welcome to kind of like do a little quick sketch. That's one way to tackle it. I know some people will actually sketch out an entire plot plan. In fact, I know there's been a few in the past that have actually provided little paint shop images of like the plot and the plot shape so that you can get it all worked out. You can do the same thing with the Like a Little Home. Just kind of plan out what rooms do you want in it. Is it going to be strictly just the bedroom, bathroom, kitchen, living? Or do you want like an office space included? Maybe you want to try and make a 2-bedroom kind of little thing. So just a living room, 2 bedrooms, and a kitchenette. Don't have a bathroom? Maybe, you know, you want to pretend that there's like a little outhouse thing in the backyard or something. You can do it all sorts of ways. Did I duplicate that? No. Okay, so we're going to put this one here. One here. I might actually bring those in a bit because I probably want a little bit of trim there. So let's do that. Add some trim where the edge of the fireplace would be. And I'm going to push this in so it's just at the edge. I'll probably like leave that there. Now some of this you won't see elsewhere. It's just going to be visible from the fireplace, and all of this will be a different kind of hidden. I could try and just make this one piece. Let me see if that'll work. I'm worried that it might be sticking out the side there too much. Check. Just a little nub in there. Just a little bit. I'm going to push it, I guess, let's try up. If that works. That should be okay. So let's get rid of that one. And let's copy, paste. Reminder for those of you that are unfamiliar with the KBT, Katya's Builder Toolkit. While I do use it frequently and you can watch how I'm using it, I don't specifically go through and say this is what you do and this step and that step. I just kind of use it. But there is a series of KBT tutorial videos now. Katya herself actually had a demo originally, but it's not that it's outdated, it's just it lacks a lot of information because there's been a great deal, many more features added since she made the original demo. But Noriak has taken up the task of setting up a series of tutorials which will cover the basics up into the advanced controls and settings and stuff. So even if you're a veteran KBT user, I would strongly recommend checking it out because there's just a lot of helpful tips and things it will help you get familiar with some of the buttons and things that maybe you don't typically use on a regular basis. Like I've really started to like the where you can click the parent, hold the shift key, hit the crate, and it creates everything in that particular set. That's been very helpful for me. Anyway, there's also, for those of you that have been hankering for some um, uh, tours on NA side, I don't know if it's both factions. I have yet to really confirm that, but um, again, I believe it's Noriak that is working on doing some showcases for that side of the pond. His is done a little differently in that, for one, I think it's from the perspective of the characters, so you get like a first-person view, and another, it's a video per housing plot, where on Wednesday when I do my tours, I like mush like 4 or 5 together. They're just doing one per video, so it's a little bit more, I guess, one-on-one as far as if you want to find the video that's particularly of yours, you don't have to scan through a bunch of others like you would online. But yeah, just some reminders for those of you that are interested in learning more, seeing more that others are working on creating. Just checking to make sure that's not poking out again. This one's probably going to be a little trickier because I don't think I'm going to be able to use the full size for the flooring of that. I think what we'll do is down to about that, maybe 3. Like so. Whoops. Yeah, for me, I prefer to tend to play out. The only time I really zoom in is when I'm in a confined space, kind of like this, where the camera gets a little jiggly if you have your character viewpoint a little too far out, and then you come into a confined space, the camera gets a little bumpy. It's nothing to do with the graphic, it's just the point of view. It's trying to adjust too much. It happens a lot in like caves and things like that when I go snooping around on others' plots. But I think just build however is comfortable for you. If you prefer playing first person, then that's probably how you're going to build your plot with that view in mind. For me, the first person has more of a fishbowl effect for me. And I just like being able to see as much of a room or area as possible. So when I'm boss fighting and stuff, it's like I hardly ever really notice my character itself. I just come in. But yeah, it's really just preference. I'm wondering if this is a little bit too big. I don't know. I may shrink that down a bit. Yeah, I think I will because it's feeling a little bit too bulky there. So let's link all this up. That one's linked already. Grab the floors. Let's that feels a bit better. Trying to get one uniform size for the boards on the side. Make sure that's not sticking out. Yeah, looks like this one will be the same. Was that 1.35? Now, when I'm doing this like little random building, a lot of it's just trial and error. If you don't like how it looks, try it again and differently. Just sometimes I'll try and go in with a plan, a generalized plan, and I modify it pretty drastically. It doesn't look anything like how I intended it to in the beginning, but that's okay. That's part of the building experience, I think, for a lot of us. Now, others, they stick strictly to their plan and they bend over backwards to keep at it, but I'm a little bit more flexible in that regard. I don't mind having it go a little off track, if that makes sense. Now, technically, I probably don't have to have a ceiling for this, but just in case someone's camera comes in, I want to cover all the bases here, so I'm going to add in a quick little ceiling for the fireplace. Just trying to get rid of that flashy bit without making the difference too much. Alrighty, so I have the fireplace set, and then there'll be a bit of a division here, I think, and then we'll have like the flat screen TV up here. And then on either side, I want some kind of cabinetry sorted out. So, how in the world do I do that? You can have closed cabinets, you can have cabinets, just shelves. You could have glass door cabinets so that you can actually see what's inside it. There's any number of ways you can do it. You can try different shapes depending on the materials you use. I'm going to keep mine pretty much square. I'm just going to be using 2x4s for most of it, so it just, I don't know, it keeps it a little simpler for me. But if you want to make little arched tops or something to make it a little fancy, there's probably things you could use. Maybe use the bars, the inset bars, as part of it. Kind of work it up nice. Let's see. So I'm going to divide this into two sections, I think. Notice I'm just eyeballing. I'm not really using any kind of measurements or anything. I'm just looking to see what looks good to my eye. That doesn't work for everybody, and it doesn't always work for me. A lot of times I'll find something that looks a little off, or things don't meet up where they should. That's just because I kind of budget a lot. So like, for instance, this way, I'm just kind of eyeballing about where the center is. But technically, you could use CATIAs to automatically put something in the center there. So say I accidentally put it here, and it's clearly it's off center, but just say I think it's centered. What you can do, I think, if I'm going to do this right, you copy the one into one copy slot, you copy the second one into a different copy slot, and then I think it's you clone one of them, and then you say average between the two, and it should put it right in the center. So I remove my original, and that's right between the two. So if you're looking for the center mark, especially like for fencing or like the shelves, or you want to get your table space just right, like in a restaurant or something, you have three tables and you want to get that center one just positioned where it's equally spaced. The difference, I mean, the average tool is great for that. I don't use it very often. Usually I just eyeball it, but you know, you can see how helpful it is. But let's see, we're going to put this up here. See how I'm just kind of eyeballing if it's okay. And let's see, this one, this is another good way to kind of get the spaces similar. What I'm going to do is I'm going to copy the first one here, copy the second one, do the second, Now this is great if you're like building up a solid wall, or if you want to use gaps. I'll show you what I'm talking about. You clone the first one, you say difference, and it's actually in line. It's the same distance between these two as it is between these two. But I don't want one here. I want to go ahead and move it up, so just keep going. And that means it's like equally 3 boards difference between this start and the finish here. I'm just going to say place, and then I'm going to clone. So that's 1, 2, 3, and now it's again equally spaced. There's a gap that's even. That's a really quick way to do that kind of deal. If you don't want yours to be exactly perfectly flat, the reason I'm leaving them flat here, a lot of times when people, pardon me, do shelves, they like to do it like this. The only reason I'm leaving it this way is because it adds a little extra thickness to hide things that maybe you don't want sticking out. This way you have to be careful about what you set on the shelf. That's the only difference, really. It does mean you have to have an extra top and a bottom for each section, whereas if you just use the flat version, you just have the flat all the way across. So it's a little bit more items involved as far as that goes, but like I said, it gives you a little bit more freedom as to what you can place on there. Like if you want to use the stacked books but only want 2 of the books showing instead of the traditional 3 or 4, you can kind of hide one in the thickness of the shelf itself. Let's see, let's do one more, I guess. So 1, 2, 3, and boop, and that would be the top of our space here. Remember, if you're using the clone and thing tool over here, you'll want to use the place button over here as well. If you just try to click off or use the place on the advanced controls, it usually gives you a little error message in the chat. If it gives you the error, just hit the place button on the thing, I think is what will fix it. Notice this is a little short of the mark. Let's see. I don't know if there's some hidden under there. Yeah, we got a little bit of leeway there. Just a smidge. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and bump this up a little bit in size just to accommodate. So I only have to use 1 piece rather than using 2 pieces to make that one stretch there. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to copy, paste. And I'm going to send that to crate. I'm going to do the copy again, slot 1. Copy to slot 2 for the second one. Then I'm going to say clone and average. And there we have that center strip again. Okay, so probably a quick way to do a solid wall, if you don't want to use multiples of the 2x4s, is the staircase landing. That's probably the quickest. It's wood as well, and it's pretty handy. So we're going to use those. Staircase landing. What I'll do is we'll see how big we can make this part here. I'm hoping to just use 1 piece. Excuse me. I don't know if I'm going to get away with that because I have a fear that it's going to be sticking out the back. We'll have a look first. Let's go see. If it is, then we'll just use 2. And it is. So we'll just use the 2. Probably works out fine anyway. So let's try 0.5. Okay, that should be okay. Yep. Now again, because I'm using the thicker, kind of like thicker board, having it face this way, I'm going to have to double up on how I've got everything boxed in. So you'll see what I mean by that here shortly. So we're going to have that one for the floor and the ceiling of it, but you also have to have the sides. Basically, I'm making like little boxes for these shelvings. So you could use like the new fireworks crate. That would probably make a good little box, like I just got the crate piece. Let's see, where's the crate? Empty one. Crate bottom. You might could get away with using one of these. Whoops. Instead, and using that as the little box, and then building your framework around that, and that would save you some pieces. I'm going to go the more complicated way and do it completely custom, but this will work too, I think. You do have the curved shape of the walls of the little crate, but I think it would work decently as a cabinet. Like I said, you have to make some adjustments like for the size of your framework and stuff, but I think that would work as a good like little section. In fact, I'm thinking of using that for my advent calendar for this year if I do another one like I did last year. Whoops, actually standing in the crate there. But if you don't want to use those, or you didn't finish the Starfall quests and didn't get access to all of the bits that you wanted, this is the hard way, but it's a different way. It's a viable way. Now for the back, I'm going to try and get away with using a bigger piece. Maybe a little bit bigger. I'm trying to get away with being economical, but still having it look okay. Let's check and make sure nothing's poking out funny. Looks all right. Like so, and just keep repeating it up. You could do the little bit where you copy paste it, do it like that if you want. I'm just gonna do it like this. I may have to change that. Yeah. Change those sides. They're a little too wide for this little gap here. So that's a little bit better. Just move that over as well. So see, like here, normally if you have the board turned a different way, you can just use the single wall, but since I have the thickness here, I have to have a second one on this side. So like I said, it's a little bit more requirement on the decor count, but you know, it just depends on how you build it. And good morning, Aurora. Glad you could join us. See you hopping in game and everything, or hopped off. You just hopped off. Oops, totally messed that up. Make sure this is all not moving them up high enough. It's just a lot of tweaking and changing your mind about stuff. For me, that's a big thing with the building. Be flexible. You know, maybe you think you can do something with a particular item and discover you can't. Be flexible in trying something different. You might get the outcome you're looking for, but just using it in a different way. Now notice I haven't added the flooring here. I really should, because then it'll look a little bit more even down under here. I probably won't bother with this one. I could though. Let me just do it. It's gonna bug me because I pointed it out and now I'm gonna wonder, well, does it look right? And again, I've got the ones on this side, but I also have to do these over here. The only reason I haven't is because I'm probably going to box this in with a different bit for the TV. So I'm not worrying about that right now, because there's a lot of times I'll build something in a certain way and I end up hiding a bunch of the pieces that I've added in. I do that a lot with my paintings and stuff when I'm doodling around with those, because I'll add a bunch of pieces and then I'll end up covering them, and I'm thinking, well, that was kind of a waste because you don't really see them anymore. And so I have to go back and kind of hunt and peck for them so I can delete them. Like I need a little backing here. All this trouble for just a little simple shelf space here. Notice I'm not, I could use the Katya's thing to kind of go, okay, I want this one, and then I'll just clone that one, and it'll be evenly spaced. But a lot of times when I do that, it doesn't quite work out like I'm expecting, and I noticed that maybe I didn't measure something accurately, and it kind of wonks it up. So I just much prefer just eyeballing most of my stuff. Again, a lot of people probably cringe at that, but that's just how I build. As always, build whatever way is comfortable for you. If you prefer using your mathematics, which I do know a lot of builders that are really heavy into that, go for it. For me, it hurts my wee brain, so getting into the math and stuff kind of makes it a little bit more like work for me. So I would rather enjoy the building rather than going, oh God, I need my homework, my calculator so I can figure it out. And yes, Aurora, I am decorating them up. I will be available after the stream for anyone that wants to go ahead and pick up their modular house so that you guys can get started. Again, you're going to have the whole month to work on them, so it's not like, unless you're really planning to go all out with them, it shouldn't be too big of a deal, but I'll be available to place them if you want me to come and actually import them for you, or I can send you the code. The best ways to probably get the code is either the forums through PM or Twitter. If we happen to be following each other, I can do a direct message that way. That'd probably be the easiest. If you trust me, you can send me your email. I do have a few of your emails as well, so we can send it that way too. Whatever's convenient, but you'll get the choice of one of these four. And I figured it was only fair because I kind of already was working on this before we'd even considered making it a CBDC. I felt it unfair that I would just say, here, I did this over a period of how many weeks it took me. Now you have just a few weeks to do this, and I thought I'll make a new one, start decorating it up. So I'm kind of sort of building alongside you guys. So you'll get to see my progress as you work on yours, and it may be, give you some ideas for yours. I don't know. But yeah, again, I'll be available. And then, if you can't do it this morning and you need to do it like later in the week or something, just give me a poke, either on the stream or, via any way you can get a hold of me. And I'm happy to sort that out, because I figure there's going to be a lot of folks that, for those that don't get to watch live, they'll see the video later, or they see an announcement in the forums and say, hey, I want to participate, and then, yeah, the sooner you get your modular house, the sooner you can get cracking on it. But I'll be here most of the morning to sort you guys out if that's what you want to do. Okay, so final roofing piece here. And here. Okay, so just the center piece is on this side. And one more time. See how that's not even. I've got like a wider bottom than top. That one needs to push in a little bit because you're starting to see the metal. Okay, so I think that's the shelf here. Now I could make it easy on myself and just copy this whole little section and bring it over to the other side. You can make it different if you want. Like I said, you can make it so that maybe this is cabinet doors where you don't actually see anything. So you could just like, say, use one of the panels in front here. It's probably not going to be a perfect match, but you'll get the idea here. Use a panel and make it like the door of the cabinet if you want. There we go. Something like that. Add a little handle and you have an Insta little cabinet. You could put in a piece of glass Framed or unframed is up to you. Let's do it this way. Oh, my nose is itching. I'm gonna have company or something. So again, just kind of line it up, square it off. And then size it down. And if the glass isn't as noticeable as you'd like, so that it looks like it's really some glass, just duplicate it a couple of times and that'll frost it up a little more. So there it looks a little bit more like a glassed thing. Add a little doohickey for a handle and there you have another little glass cabinet thing. It's no trouble at all, Aurora. And no, you don't have to pay me for it. It's just a convenience kind of thing. Yeah, circular shapes, Maddie, are probably the trickiest, I guess. I know there's a lot of builders that love patterns, and so the masks come in handy for that. If they're looking to have certain things at different specific degrees to make a very uh, matched pattern, you know, I don't know what you call it, I can't think of the word, but it looks the same on either side. It's like a mirrored image. Um, yeah, that comes in handy. No problem, or you can always watch it later if you miss something. Another way is just to leave it empty and have just open shelves if you want. You could even do something a little different and add an extra layer to the shelf. Do it like so. And you have a double shelf. There's any number of ways you could do this divvied up. You could have it, instead of splitting it into the 3 layers, you could just have it open into 2 separate sections and then multiple shelves in that. It's pretty endless. And like I said, you don't have to have the usual box shapes. If you find items like the bars, the curved bars are really good. Like the, not the fancy, I keep wanting to call it the fancy. Charming bar. Like the charming bar, it's got a curved bit. You could actually use some of the bookshelves for Insta shelving. I'm trying to think. I don't think I have any on here. Like the bookcase. An empty one, though. It'd probably be the trophy cabinet, I think is what I'm thinking of. It comes with shelves. You can use some of these. You'd have to hide the bits you don't want showing, of course, but there's other ways of getting like Insta shelves. Probably the trophy cabinet, the empty trophy cabinet is probably a fave, and then the bar, the empty cabinet bar, that's another favorite. People will just inset that in and then use that as their shelving. That works out. Usually they turn it upside down so you don't see this part here. Let me see if I can show you what I mean. Like they would just get it all square here so it looks nice, like as if I'm actually going to use it. And then they would just size it however they need to make it fit. And then you have these little Insta shelves, and see you already have your little cutout for the TV, the fireplace, whatever you want to use it for. And you don't have to worry about measuring or eyeballing or whatever. You've just got this little inset bit. In fact, I'm going to use this on the other side. That'll be the bedroom bit. We'll make the bed, this will be like where the headboard goes. We'll lower it like so. We'll shrink it down just a bit, a little too big. We'll figure it out later, but this will be the start of the bed, I think. And then we'll probably put the kitchen right in the middle and have some divisions between the rooms here and here. I think that'll be all right. Okay, so if I'm wanting to replicate this on the other side, normally I would say, well, you could just click one, call it the parent, and then just copy, link all of the pieces together. But I'm also using the same pieces for the exterior wall. So the best way for me is to just individually select the pieces that I want to use to have copied over. We're going to go ahead and send these to create though. I'll figure out the divisions later on these. So what I would do is probably use this as the parent for this particular set, and then I'm just going to go through and link everything to that parent. A lot of people won't want to do it this way because it's, you're clicking every single piece, and it might become tough if you have certain pieces that are well hidden or super small. It gets tricky, but it's my preferred way because I have more control over what actually gets linked and what doesn't. I don't want to accidentally link a bunch of stuff that I don't mean to. So this is my way of making sure I only get the pieces that I see that I want. But as with anything, use whatever works for you. If the linking radius works well for you, then that's awesome. You could build certain things separate outside of this little cubicle thing, and then shrink it down and adjust it and position it, plant it in, as you go. You don't have to build it. I find it easier to build in the structure that you want to put it in. But I have done things like beds and other types of furniture like tables and things. I built it on one plot, brought it over and imported it into another one. You just have to kind of, again, play around with the scale and everything. Okie dokie, let's see. I think I got all of that. Let's see. Need the divider boards. And the floors. Oops. No, cancel. Excellent. I clicked the wrong button, which also means I need these here. Now you can see too, when I'm building stuff like this, I'm not really paying attention to how many pieces are going into it, the cost of it. I don't really pay attention to that stuff. A lot of people ask me, well, how much does it cost you to make this or that? Usually I have absolutely no idea. Because I build whatever I'm wanting to build, regardless of the items I'm using. Generally speaking, my building is a little cheaper than some because, again, I tend to use the housing vendor, so I'm not using a lot of pieces that maybe cost flat from the auction house or something. That's not to say that my stuff are super cheap, because depending on the item, I mean, if you're using an item that costs 10 gold from the housing vendor and you're using tons of them, that will add up quickly, no doubt. But generally speaking, I have a nice nest egg of plat saved back that I've not spent over the year or so that we've been playing, and it's just I don't really pay attention to it. Others a little bit more spendthrifty. The only thing I do know is that when it comes to auction house stuff, I go for cheap. If it's anything above, like, unless it's super rare, I hardly ever go past a plat. It's usually I'm in the 10, 20, 30 gold range. Um, it's like some of the things I've been looking for the golf course plot. I've been scoping out, and they've been pretty steadily in the plat range. And I found one for like, I don't know, 20 silver yesterday. I was like, woohoo, because I'm willing to wait however long it takes to get those good deals. For others, they're a little bit more pressed for time, or they got to have it finished now, and so they're a little bit more willing to spend the extra amount, but not me. So it's one of the reasons why I usually don't like to say what I'm looking for, because I know there's some that will listen to that and go, I can make some money off a carrot. I'll just bump all the prices up. It's like I noticed the space rocks, the spacewalk rocks, some of the new ones from, I guess it's the Madame Faye coins or fortunes or whatever. Those were going for like anywhere from 15 to about 30, 40 gold a piece. Somebody bought them out like last week, and now they're all like on average 1, 2, 3 plat per. And it's like, what? So I won't be getting any more of those until they go back down in price. Like, I'll live without it. I might have wanted some more, but I'll live without them. Not that big a deal. Okay, so I'm going to try and find an empty spot here. I have no idea what most of that was that we just looked through, but so I've got the set that I want, and I hope I got everything. I think it did, yeah. So you click the parent, you say add linked set, and this will tell you that this little cabinet is 32 pieces altogether for just this bit. Now I'm not counting this little bottom part because that's already over here. 32 pieces. Hey, Lay, good morning. Yeah, boy, they are. It's just, I know people want to make money, but it just seems a little outrageous. But, you know, I'm just happy that I got as many as I did when they were still relatively cheap. So, one way that Katia likes to do it is she would just take the existing set and move it over, and then just place all in link, and it would be right back where you put it. You can do it that way, or you can do it the way I normally do it, and it's probably just I'm lazy, and it's not exactly the best way because there have been instances where I've put down a set and then I've accidentally left some of the pieces. But what I usually do is I just place it right over the original, and then I just move it straight from the get-go and do it like that. Now, the only difference is usually when you do a linked set like this, you can just flip it so that it's set up like you want. But it happens that it works out all right in this instance. But sometimes when you want to do it, you have to tweak it a little bit. You might have to adjust how this is, flip these things over to this side and vice versa. It just really depends on how you put it together. Now notice this is sticking out. I have to adjust that a little bit because I don't think I want the metal showing. Okay, so now we have the double shelves on each side, and I can decide, do I want cabinets? Do I want, don't like that line showing there, like it's gappy or something. Anyway, like I said, you can divide it however you want, depending on what kind of items. This is great for books, little collectibles. You can just cover them all with doors and leave it up to the visitor's imagination as to what might be inside it. A lot of times when people do that, they always leave one open so that you can kind of see what's in it, that kind of thing. We're going to have a fireplace here, and we're going to put a TV up here. I know that sounds a little weird, but I'm going to pretend that the exhaust system for the fireplace is out the back. sort of, like got some tubing or something. We're just going to imagine that it's bypassing where the television is, not going straight through the TV. So we have a fireplace set up, and then we need a little boxed-in area for the television. So what we're going to do is trying to see if this looks relatively the same. This looks a little wider here, so I'm going to push this a bit. And let's see. Trying to see, I want this covered up. Don't know if I need to just push this. I think that's what caused that earlier. Pushed it. That's why that line's showing up. What I'll probably do is just double this up. That'll solve my little problem. So I'm going to need some kind of, what do you call it? A mantle, anyway. You know, for stocking hanging later and all that kind of stuff. Okay, so let's just, and bring this up. Yes. Again, just eyeballing, not really worrying about what it looks like elsewhere. Okay, just sticking out the top. I don't think so. It's pretty thick there, so it should be fine. Another one on this side. And then one right across the mid here. Yeah, I like I said, I understand people wanting to make some plat, but it does seem a little unreasonable with the amounts that they're set at right now. I figure if enough people just don't buy them at that price, that eventually the person will lower them because it's not going to, you know, do them any good to not sell them. But yeah, I'm tempted to just try my luck at Faye again, but I really am reluctant to do that because I have the worst luck with those things. I tried a few hoping for like some of the like the mount and stuff. It's like other people, oh, the first coin I used that got me the mount. It's like, shut up, I don't want to hear it. Because it's always somebody got it on the first try. And it's like you go and you spend like, you know, lots of bucks on it and it's still nothing. Frustrating. Okay, let's see. I'm gonna move this one a little bit, I think. I'm afraid it's gonna be sticking out. Let me check. Yeah, that one's sticking out over there, so I'm sure this one is too. So that's one I have to adjust. That might be all right though. It'll at least match. There we go. And let's see, well, give a little bit of space for those, you know, in theory, you know, exhaust pipes or whatever's going to be in there. put it right about here. So I'm going to replicate this one. And then let's see. Copy that one, copy this one, and then we're going to clone. That looks good. Yeah, I wish they would really remove the rune junk from those, because if you're paying real money, who wants to buy the runes? Yeah, it's like I got one of those purple cards and it ended up being a purple rune. It's like I don't even use runes at all. So it was like just frustrating. So like this would be a good place for like a picture or a mounted head if you know it's a guy's little man den or whatever. In the center there. Make sure it's not sticking out funny. Looking okay. And we're going to try and box this in. So yeah, that's not matching exactly right. That's because of me building it wonky. I'm just eyeballing it again. See, it was like it was meant to be that way all along. This is a little off. Let me adjust that a bit. Right about there. So now everything's kind of looking sort of the same. There we go. So this will be where the TV goes. Now, in theory, I wouldn't have to actually add some of these pieces because you're going to have the television probably take up most of the space. But like if you're not doing like a big pure flat screen TV like I did in the other one, like this one you could probably fit in and not have to show any of that background area. You could just pop it in and call it good. But I think I'm going to build like an old-fashioned little TV, the ones with the rickety old antenna. Whoops, we're in the wrong house. The rickety old antenna, you know, like an old-fashioned one. So yeah, that'll be where the TV goes. So fireplace TV, some shelving, cabinetry stuff in working. And notice how still got a lot in there, even though maybe technically I'm not using that full curved space that was available, but it allowed me to create some pockets of places where you can put some things without having to worry about it poking through. Whoops, not showing. Tuck that in right there. See what changed on that. Sure, it's sticking out a little bit more than the other one now. So let's push that in. There we go. So yeah, nice little quickie, shelving, prepping for the fireplace. You could add, for instance, a little bit of a protector area for like if you're going to have embers flying around and you don't want the house to burn down. Typically, I make it a little bit wider than the area, just so it kind of catches it all. The thing I got to worry about though is what's showing out here. Like that. So now you have your little, I don't know what they call that, the little protector area. Put in, we can replace this piece here with a different kind of a piece. You can use the, what's it called? Rusty? No. Ornate, maybe? No, it's not that either. It's in the fences. Where is that? Fencing, fencing, fencing. Thought it was from the vendor. Could be wrong though. Ah, there it is. Iron fence. Okay, rusted iron fence. You can use this. This is a favorite piece of a lot of builders for the little railing. I don't know what's that thing called. The little guard thingy for it. I don't know the name. So horrible with names. I'm like that with people too. Like I can meet somebody and the name goes in one ear and out the other. I don't retain it. Feel bad, but just the way it is. So something like that, you can add that in as a little fence piece for your fireplace. Just make sure it's not sticking out where you don't want it. Another fave is the Marauder metal shelf thing. I've seen some use the metal grate shelf. Another one, probably it's a newer piece, the Osun floor netting thingy. God, I'm like really bad. It's from the Soul Frost vendor. Those would probably be good. I don't even use the service tokens though. Is that bad? I don't even use those. I don't know. I have no idea what I would even use them for. I know you can use them upon death. Ocean Great Floor, that's it. Yeah, but see, I don't really do that too much either. Most of my time spent in housing. If I do any kind of open world stuff, it's like I'll do the dailies in Arctera. Um, if the expeditions are one of the contracts, I'll do that, but it's usually solo. It's not like I'm having to go anywhere. I have done some of the world bosses, but it's usually like an easy one that's nearby, like was it Kragar, the one in Algarok, or Grindelus in Celestion, or the ones that you can get to the portals from Walderun. That's the only ones I really mess with. Everybody's whispering, Iron Fence, Iron Fence. It's like the oh crud, I keep wanting to call it the fancy Charming Bar. Everybody's the Charming Bar, Carrot, not fancy. Recoloring. What do you mean by recoloring? You talking about like your costumes? See, I don't really change my costumes all that much. I mean, I think I've been wearing this one for a while now. I did have the new Asian, the exotic outfit on, but and I still have the shoes on actually, I think. But I'm not really big on changing costumes too much. I do that for special occasions more than anything else. Like if we're having an actual guild event or something for like Shades Eve or something, I'll put on a costume for that. But if it's just me goofing around, typically I don't. I just wear the same junk over and over. kind of like my granny sweater. I wear that all the time because it's comfortable and it's sleeves. I'm one of those that's typically chilled even in 70-degree weather, so I keep my granny sweater handy. Okay, so I think that's going to be all for today, guys. I know it's kind of a short one, but I'm sure some of you are anxious to get hold of your modular houses, and I want to be available for that. And it's kind of difficult to do while I'm on the stream as well, so we're going to call it good for today. But I hope you had fun and hope you look forward to joining us for some more decorating on here. We will be visiting Melon's plot. I know some of you noticed some of my tweeting over the weekend about some stuff I've been building over there, but we'll probably do that later in the week, mostly because I'm just wanting to focus on the CBDC stuff to kind of get people pumped and ready for that and be available, and to show some more ideas as far as how you can divvy up the space and things that you can change. Again, I want to do it differently than I did the original one, just to see if just how different. I mean, I know that as you guys do your decorating, it'll include your own styles and choices of decor and things, but it should be fun. I'm looking forward to seeing the results. So we're going to wrap it up. Remember, you're welcome to contact me, whatever method is easiest, convenient for you. And I am able to give out the KBT code for each version. You just pick one. So if you want like the Exile version, just tell me that's what you want, and I'll send you the code for that. Again, it's roughly 245 pieces, and about, I think it's like 47 gold or something. Again, if you're having trouble funding that, let me know. I'll help you with that. And of course, if you want me to actually come onto your plot as a roommate and place it for you, I'm happy to do that as well. I do have a character on both factions, both regions. They're the same names as Carrot Greenleaf on Exile side for both regions, and Melon Collie for Dominion side for both regions. So be happy to contact me either way of those. I have access to it all, so it's no problem. It's no inconvenience. Again, I'm making myself available, so this morning, for those of you that want to hurry up and grab it now, just let me know how you want it and which one you want, and we'll get that sorted. So good luck to those that decide to participate, and looking forward to what you create, and I hope to see you guys again later. See ya. Bye-bye.